Welcome to Mishna study Masechet Terumot Perek Mishnah Zayin. Last Mishnah we spoke about these allium plants, right, which was the onion, garlic, leek family. And now we're going to open up this last Mishnah with another law related to these allium plants. And now we're going to speak about one who weeds these allium plants for a non-Jew. So Haminakesh im hanochri b'hasiyot, a person who's weeding, with or really for a non-Jew in these hasiyot. Hasiyot are these allium plants, right? That family that contains onions, garlic, the loof that we mentioned, also kaplutot, right? Which is the leek of Eretz Yisrael, right? This is how the Tosefta really defines what these hasiyot are. Aval pishu pirotav tevel, right? Even though the goy's fruits are tevel, right? This is like we said, that the goy cannot just go ahead and make his, field patur from Terumot to ma'asrot, right? He's also obligated. Right, we said en kinyan goy be'eretz Yisrael le'afkia mina ma'asrot. So therefore, his fruits are tevel. And now, because the person now is weeding for this goy, for this non-Jew in the in his field, he's allowed to go ahead and eat temporarily from them, just like if he was working for a Jew. Also, he's allowed to go ahead and only eat temporarily. Next law of the Mishnah is shetivet trumash nitmeu ushtalan. Let's say you had a planter, right? You had a planter and you were growing teruma in that planter and it became tameh. Now, what'd you do? You went ahead and you took that planter and you attached it, you planted it now in the ground. So before it was in this planter, so it could become tameh, did become tameh, and now you go ahead and attached it and planted it in the ground. Now, something that's attached to the ground is when it gives forth new fruits, right, they become tahor. So taharu miletameh, right? The new fruits that grow from this plant now are tahor, right? They are no longer, the new fruits that grow don't have the status of that seed, right? They only, right? The new fruits don't have the status of the seed. They're not tameh anymore. Rather, they are tahor. But va'asurim le'echol ad she'yagom ta'ochel. You're not allowed to eat them until you cut off the first layer of fruits. Now, why? Why wouldn't you be allowed to eat them? If they're right, if they became tahor, right? That means that you should be able to eat them. Why can't anyone eat them? So the Talmud asked this question, and they said, why would they be asur to eat? And they point this out that when you have, hekdesh and teruma, we have this law, en ziri ala hekdesh and en ziri ala teruma, right? There's no such thing as planting, right? Hekdesh, you're not allowed to benefit from it. If a person takes his what he donated to the Beit HaMikdash and he goes ahead and he plants it in the ground, right? What grows from it, we don't say that what grows from it is going to be mutar. Similarly, teruma, you're not allowed to eat that. If you go ahead and plant it, right? It doesn't become now you're allowed to eat it. You can't go ahead, Israel can't go ahead and eat this now. So same law would apply over here, and therefore you wouldn't be, allowed to. You would not be allowed to eat them, right? Even though they lose their tameh status and they become tahor. Now, once you go ahead and you chop off the outside, the fruit the food that just grew, right? Then you're allowed to eat the rest. And Rabbi Yehuda comes and he says, no, you have to cut it twice, right? Chop off one, the first fruits that grow, and then do so again. And only the second time will they be allowed, to eat. Now, what we're saying you're allowed to eat them, what does that mean you're allowed to eat them? Right? This is specific to planters that were, again, this goes back to last Mishnah, davar shezaro kaleh. It's talking about if you planted wheat or something, right, whose seed disintegrates, and therefore what's growing from it is something totally new. Right, but let's say, right, and therefore, once you cut it, right, once you cut that first, fruit that grew from it, the first wheat that grew from it, whatever grows afterwards is allowed to eat, and anyone's allowed to eat it. Zarim, regular person in Israel, is allowed to eat it, right? But let's say it's davar she'en zaro kaleh. Let's say it's an onion bulb that we said before. Right? These are going to be asur to zarim, asur to Israel to eat, and they're only mutar to the kohen after he goes and he cuts it. And halacha, by the way, is like Rabbi Yehuda, right? Actually, Harambam over here in the Pirusha Mishnah, in his first edition, he actually wrote the en halacha k'Rabbi Yehuda. And if you look on the side on the footnote, you see a footnote from Rabbeinu Abraham ben Harambam, who actually corrects it and he crosses out the en, right? Based on the Hibur, based on the Mishneh Torah, Harambam is posek like Rabbi Yehuda.